love broccoli, too. I know that. But I only use the broccoli to threaten them so they'll eat their peas.
It's 1984, and a TV show about two divorced women raising their kids together in a Greenwich Village apartment is about to become one of the biggest hits on television. But here's the thing nobody talks about. The original title of that show? Two Mommies. In 1984, on CBS. Yeah, we're going there. Kate Allie ran from 84 to 89. It starred Susan St. James and Jane Curtin, won 3 Emmy Awards, and quietly became one of the most groundbreaking sitcoms of the decade. But behind the laugh track in the cozy brownstone apartment, there's a wild story of network panic, hidden pregnancies, Emmy speech drama, and a connection to Pokémon. Trust me, that last one is absolutely real. Today, we're counting down 15 weird facts about Kate Allie that'll make you see this show in a completely different light. If you grew up watching it, or if you're just here for some wild 80s TV history, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss our deep dives into more classic shows. Alright, let's get into it. Number 15. It was one of only 2 primetime shows filmed in New York City.
Liver.
Liver?
No, gallbladder.
Then why did you say liver?
Because it's on sale for 79 cents a pound.
We're starting with something that sounds simple but was actually a pretty big deal in the 1980s. Kate and Allie was one of only 2 primetime series filmed in New York City during its entire run. The other one? The Cosby Show. That's it, just those 2. In a decade when New York was the setting for countless TV shows and movies, almost everything was actually shot in Los Angeles. But Kate and Allie was committed to the real deal. Both Susan St. James and Jane Curtin insisted on filming in New York. Part of the reason was personal. St. James was married to NBC executive Dick Ebersol, who was producing Saturday Night Live at the time. Filming in New York meant they could both work in the same city. But this commitment to authenticity gave the show something special. Every episode began with Kate and Allie walking around Manhattan in these naturalistic, conversational sequences shot on location. No laugh track. Just real conversation. Sound familiar? That format actually predated the similar style that would later become a signature of Seinfeld. Kate and Allie was doing the walking and talking cold open before Jerry and George made it iconic. Number 14. One of the child stars quit acting to become a nurse.
O-R-E-D. Ward. That's 8 points in the story of my life.
Ari Myers played Emma McCardle, Kate's daughter, for 5 seasons. She was a regular presence on the show and beloved by fans. But here's what happened after the cameras stopped rolling. Myers left the show partway through season 5 to attend Yale University. Already impressive, right? But what came next is even more surprising. After graduating from Yale with honors, Ari Myers left the entertainment industry entirely. She became a postpartum nurse and lactation consultant. At a virtual reunion in 2021, when asked about her career change, she simply said she loves it. No drama, no regrets. Just a complete pivot from sitcom star to healthcare professional. It's one of those stories that reminds you these child actors were real people, with lives far beyond the soundstage. Number 13. The actress playing Jenny was Broadway's youngest ever Annie.
Where are you going, Kate?
To a wedding.
Whose?
Maddie and Francie's.
Who?
Do you think I should have bought a gift?
Speaking of the young cast, let's talk about Allison Smith, who played Jenny Lowell for all 6 seasons. Before she ever set foot on the Kate and Allie set, Smith had already made Broadway history. From 1980 to 1982, Allison Smith starred as Annie on Broadway, performing over 1,000 shows. She was the youngest actress ever to play the role, and get this, she replaced Sarah Jessica Parker in the part. She also appeared in the original Broadway production of Evita alongside Patti LuPone. So when Smith showed up to play Allie's daughter, she wasn't some random kid actor. She was a legitimate Broadway veteran who had already headlined one of the most famous musicals of all time. After Kate and Allie ended, Smith went on to appear in The West Wing as Mallory O'Brien. Today she owns an inn in Massachusetts and is writing her debut novel. In a recent interview, she mentioned that people still tell her how important it was for them to see a different kind of family on TV when they were growing up. Number 12. 2 spin-offs both failed spectacularly.
No, I didn't think the movie was boring. I thought it was beautiful.
When you said Japanese, I thought you meant like Revenge of the Fist.
Networks love a spin-off, especially from a hit show. Kate and Allie was a top 20 performer for years, So naturally, CBS tried to capitalize on that success. They launched not one, but two spin-off attempts. Both were disasters. The first was called Roxy, starring Andrea Martin from SCTV. It aired exactly twice, April 1st and April 8th, 1987. Then CBS pulled the plug. 2 episodes? That's it. Gone. The second spin-off was called Late Bloomer, starring Lindsay Wagner, and this one didn't even make it that far. The show was scrapped the day before its scheduled debut, January 19th, 1987. It literally never aired. Imagine being part of a production that gets canceled less than 24 hours before your premiere. That's a Hollywood horror story right there. So while Kate and Allie was a certified hit, its spin-off energy was apparently cursed. Number 11. A kidney stone led to an episode about homelessness.
Supermarkets, banks, movies. Do you know that the other day I had to wait in line to get in line?
Television production is all about adapting to the unexpected. When Susan St. James was hospitalized for kidney stone removal during production, the writers had a problem. They needed to film an episode, but their lead actress was literally in a hospital bed. Their solution was creative and surprisingly meaningful. They wrote an entire episode that was filmed almost entirely outdoors on the streets of Manhattan. The story focused on Allie struggling to find her way home after losing her keys and money in a taxi. The episode was produced in cooperation with the Coalition for the Homeless and doubled as social commentary on what it actually feels like to be stranded and vulnerable in New York City. What could have been a throwaway bottle episode became something with genuine social impact, all because Susan St. James had kidney stones. Number 10. Kelsey Grammer appeared in the very first episode.
Picture book wedding, 400 guests. And then he walks.
The pilot episode of Kate and Allie, titled Allie's First Date, aired on March 19, 1984. And right there in that very first episode was a young actor named Kelsey Grammer. He played a man that Kate dates, who ends up preferring Allie. It's a small role, but here's the timing that makes it wild. That same year, Grammer debuted as Frasier Crane on Cheers, the character that would eventually get his own spin-off and run for 11 seasons. So Kate and Allie's premiere featured a future television icon before he became a household name. And Grammer wasn't the only future star to pass through the show. Ben Stiller made an early career appearance. William H. Macy showed up in a season 4 episode, long before his Oscar-nominated film career. Mercedes Ruehl appeared before her Academy Award win. Ricki Lake guest starred in 87, less than a year before Hairspray made her famous. The show was basically a launching pad for talent that would dominate the next 2 decades. Number 9. The producers admitted they killed the show the same way they killed that girl.
Bob, I know you've wanted to do television for a long time, and this could be your big break.
Here's where we get into the behind-the-scenes drama about why Kate and Allie ended the way it did. After 5 seasons, the original creative team, director Bill Persky and writer Bob Randall, left the show. They believed the story was complete. But CBS wanted a 6th season, so they brought in new executive producers, Saul Turteltaub and Bernie Orenstein. Their big idea? Have Allie marry her boyfriend Bob Barsky. Sounds reasonable on paper. Characters grow, relationships evolve, but here's the problem. The entire premise of Kate and Allie was 2 single women building a non-traditional family together. The moment Allie got married, that premise was destroyed. And here's the kicker. Orenstein publicly admitted they had made the exact same mistake before. On That Girl, they decided Marlo Thomas's character should get married. It killed that show too. Turteltaub and Orenstein had literally done this before, knew it was a bad idea, and did it anyway. Bill Persky, who had co-created That Girl, had left Kate and Allie specifically because he saw what was coming. The show's final season ratings collapsed. It fell from number 19 in the Nielsen rankings to outside the top 30. Allie's remarriage is now frequently cited as one of the canonical examples of a television show jumping the shark. Number 8. One actor played 3 different characters before becoming a regular.
That's what I said when you asked me to try your eel.
Actually, you said eel is too slimy to be a food.
Sam Freed played Bob Barsky, the man Allie eventually marries, but his journey to becoming a series regular is one of the strangest casting stories in sitcom history. Before he was cast as Bob, Freed appeared on the show twice as completely different characters. In season 2, he played a married political candidate. In Season 3, he played someone named Keith in a backdoor pilot that never went anywhere. Different names, different backstories, different roles entirely. Producer Bill Persky later explained what kept happening. Every time they needed to cast a character, somebody would suggest bringing Sam Freed back. Eventually, they just made him a regular and gave him a consistent identity. 3 different characters, same actor, and finally, a permanent role. Television is weird sometimes. Number 7. Susan St. James hid her pregnancy behind bathtubs.
Well, my old one didn't go with the shoes and the coat, so I bought this one. Do you like it?
I gotta hand it to you. You sure know how to live above your means.
During Season 4, Susan St. James was pregnant in real life, but her character Kate was single, and the writers had no intention of giving Kate a baby, so they had to get creative. Producers concealed St. James's pregnancy by filming her behind desks, under hospital sheets, and most memorably, in a bubble bath. They did everything possible to hide her growing baby bump from the camera. But there was one exception. The show did a flashback episode showing both Kate and Allie pregnant with their daughters. For that episode, they leaned into St. James's real pregnancy. But since Allie was also supposed to be pregnant in the flashback, Jane Curtin had to be stuffed with padding to match. One actress with a real pregnancy, one actress with fake padding, both filming scenes about their characters being pregnant at the same time. The logistics of 1980s television production were something else. Number 6. Jane Curtin's trained Poodle Emmy speech caused real friction.
Pumping up so you can take her.
I figure if I can't work out my problems, I'll work out my body. You want a soda?
At the 1984 Emmy Awards, both Susan St. James and Jane Curtin were nominated for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Comedy Series. They were competing against each other, and St. James had every reason to expect she would win. As she later recalled, Entertainment Tonight had sent a camera crew to her house. They had cameras on her whole family. Don Knotts was presenting the award, and he had handed St. James an Emmy she'd won years earlier. She took it as a sign, but Curtin won. In her acceptance speech, Curtin said she should really thank Susan St. James, because you can't do it with a trained poodle. St. James was hurt. She later said that most people assumed it was an inside joke between the two of them, something friendly. But she made it clear, it became one after the fact. Curtin acknowledged the mistake. She explained she was in a state of shock when she won, because on Saturday Night Live, she had always been the bridesmaid, never the bride. The comment came out wrong. Despite this awkward moment, both actresses consistently described their working relationship as genuinely warm and fun. But that Emmy speech became a piece of television trivia that neither of them could escape. Curtin went on to win again the following year, making her the back-to-back Emmy winner for the role. St. James never won for Kate and Allie. Number 5. They filmed at the Ed Sullivan Theater and the Sesame Street studio. Remember how we said Kate and Allie was one of only 2 primetime shows filmed in New York? Well, here's where it gets even more interesting. The show taped at the legendary Ed Sullivan Theater, CBS Studio 50, at 1697 Broadway. This is the same stage where the Beatles made their historic 1964 U.S. television debut, the same stage where David Letterman would host The Late Show, the same stage where Stephen Colbert hosts today. But that's not all. Kate and Allie also used Teletape Studios at West 81st and Broadway. And here's the fun fact. That studio simultaneously served as the production facility for Sesame Street. So in theory, you could have had Big Bird and Oscar the Grouch filming in one part of the building, while Susan St. James and Jane Curtin were shooting a sitcom about divorced women in another. The crossover nobody asked for, but everyone deserves to imagine. Number 4. The theme song composer later created the Pokémon theme.
Along comes a friend who offers a hand in sharing.
Okay, this is the fact that makes people do a double take every single time. The closing credits of Kate and Allie featured a vocal theme called Along Comes a Friend, composed and performed by John Luffler. He also appeared on screen in a Season 2 episode as a piano teacher. But here's what John Luffler did after Kate and Allie ended. He became CEO of Rave Music, and he produced and composed the original Pokémon theme song. Yes, that Pokémon theme, gotta catch 'em all. So the same person who wrote the warm, friendship-themed closing music for an 80s sitcom about divorced moms also created one of the most recognizable cartoon theme songs of the late 90s. The entertainment industry is a small, strange world. Number 3. They pretended to be a lesbian couple, and the twist was perfect.
In a couple of years, people will be bulgy again, and I will have saved time, money, and hundreds of change.
Now we're getting into the episodes that made television history. Season 2, Episode 1, titled Landlady, aired on October 15th, 1984. The plot was simple. Kate and Allie's landlady demanded a massive rent increase after discovering that two separate families occupied what was supposed to be a one-family apartment. Their solution? Kate and Allie pretended to be a lesbian couple to qualify as a single household. But here's the twist that made the episode legendary. The landladies themselves turned out to be a lesbian couple. When Kate and Allie confessed they weren't actually together, they delivered an impassioned speech about what constitutes a real family. And the landladies let them stay. One publication called Kate and Allie the gayest sitcom that ever aired, noting that the characters enjoyed carriage rides through Central Park, champagne in bed, and that the kids often called out, "Hey, moms." The show walked a line that was remarkably progressive for its time, and remarkably nerve-wracking for the network. Number 2. CBS mandated separate bedrooms every episode.
Untimely death? It's just a figure of speech.
Here's the network panic that defined the entire series. CBS executives were terrified that viewers would think Kate and Allie were lesbians. So, they gave the producers a very specific mandate. At the end of every single episode, both women had to be shown entering separate bedrooms. Every single episode. It didn't matter what the plot was about. It didn't matter if it felt natural to the story. The network needed visual proof that these two women were not sharing a bed. This directive came straight from the top, and it's confirmed by multiple sources, including the show's own production history. The irony is thick. The show was already doing stories about pretending to be a couple, about non-traditional families, about what it really means to build a home together. But CBS drew the line at bedrooms. As long as Kate went into her room and Allie went into hers, everything was fine. Network television in the 80s. Number 1. The original title was Two Mommies.
Oh, not that one. That's mine. Can't you open Jenny's first?
Okay.
No open chips. Mine isn't an open first kind of present.
And here we are at number 1. The weirdest fact of them all. When creator Sherry Coben first pitched the show, the working title wasn't Kate and Allie, it was Two Mommies. In 1984, on CBS during the Reagan administration, think about the cultural context. Think about how controversial that title would have been. Think about the fact that Two Mommies is exactly how the show was read by many viewers anyway, as a portrayal of two women raising children together, functioning as a family unit, supporting each other in ways that traditional marriage rarely delivered on television. The show premiered as a mid-season replacement with only 6 episodes ordered. Its debut on March 19, 1984 ranked number 4 for the week. Extraordinary for a mid-season entry. CBS immediately committed to a full season. Kate and Allie ran for 6 seasons and 122 episodes. It was a top 20 show for its first 4 full seasons. It won 3 Emmys. Television Heaven called it the savior of the network sitcom during a period when primetime soaps dominated and critics were writing obituaries for the format. And it all started with a title that CBS definitely made them change. Sherry Coben conceived the idea at her high school reunion after noticing divorced women clustering together for mutual support. She turned that observation into a pitch, and that pitch became one of the defining sitcoms of the decade. Sadly, Coben passed away in October 2024 at age 71, but her legacy, the show that dared to ask what family really means, lives on. Conclusion. So there you have it. 15 weird facts about Kate and Allie that prove this show was way more complicated, way more progressive, and way more chaotic behind the scenes than its cozy sitcom exterior ever suggested. From its provocative original title to its network-mandated bedroom rules, from Emmy speech drama to Pokémon connections, Kate and Allie was a show that pushed boundaries while pretending to be completely safe family entertainment. It filmed where the Beatles performed and where Sesame Street taped. It launched careers and changed lives. And it proved that two women raising kids together could be the heart of a primetime hit, even if the network made them sleep in separate rooms. The show finally became available for streaming in August 2024 on the Roku channel. So if you haven't seen it, or if you want to relive those memories, you can actually watch it now. For the cast, life went on. Jane Curtin became the queen of deadpan and starred in Third Rock from the Sun. Susan St. James essentially retired to raise her family in Connecticut. One child star went to Yale and became a nurse. Another went from Broadway Annie to running an inn in Massachusetts. But the show's impact endures. As Allison Smith said recently, people still tell her how important it was to see a different kind of family on TV when they were growing up. That's what Kate and Allie gave us, a different kind of family, two mommies if you will. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit that like button and subscribe for more nostalgia trips through classic television. Drop a comment and let me know, did you watch Kate and Allie growing up? What do you remember about it? And which of these facts surprised you the most? Until next time.